Hello there, my name is Danielle J. Bernier, and I will be doing my policy speech today on the greatest peaceful event in history. If I were to ask you, say, Johnny, where is the township of Bethel, New York, and why is it history? Would you know? If I were to ask you, what can you tell me about Woodstock? You'd probably know something. You could tell me, oh, it was a big old music fest and there were a lot of drugs. Well, actually, Woodstock took place in Bethel, New York on August 15th through the 19th for 3 days, and it was the largest crowd ever assembled, according to the New York Public Library's American Desk Reference. But was it the most peaceful? I think it was, because never in the history, and probably never again, will so many people be gathered for so long of a time with such small violence, or I don't even think there was violence, but there was one death. To be granted, there were hundreds of medical emergencies, but most of them were caused from dehydration because the promoters did not know that so many people were going to show up. The one death was from a drug overdose, accidental or purposeful, I don't know. No one ever knows. Now, to be fair, there were 600 acres that they can roam around on. But if you look at the Road to Woodstock by Michael Lang, which was actually the promoter of the Woodstock, you will see how close everybody was. 600 acres? Wow, that's quite a lot if it's you and your horse riding around. But if it's 500,000 plus people, not to mention a stage and all these musical acts, there was a lack of bathrooms and toilet paper and food and all that. There was a huge traffic jam. But you know what? It actually made these people get along more. Everybody was helping each other out. Now, drugs could have helped, of course, but they parked their car on this huge traffic jam, and they helped each other out with their sleeping bags, and they walked on, and they were peaceful about it. And so Vietnam War was going on, of course, and you can read more about that in A Question of Character, The Life of John F. Kennedy, about the troops and the violence and all of the soldiers that were dying. There was a draft where any of these youth at that time could be called up. So why weren't they violent? Why weren't they outraged? What in the world? Why were they happy? Why were they getting along and loving each other? Why were they closer more to the youth of their generation, no matter what race, color, creed? Why were they able to be more comfortable with their youth than their family? The conservatives and the news, they called these youth counterculture people lazy, born of a generation of baby boomers. And you know, they might be right, but you cannot really blame it on the youth generation because they had not gone through the Depression, so they had nothing to compare it to. And maybe it was peaceful because outside of these gates of Woodstock was stark reality. It was war, was rules and this culture that they just couldn't be boxed in with. You know, it was I can't even explain it. I wish I was born there. It's just like when your parents say, oh, I used to walk 10 miles in the rain up to go to school without any shoes. Well, you can't really relate to that because you weren't there. So does that put the blame on you because of that? Boy, this book right here, The Road to Woodstock, is written by the guy that actually made the thing. And I will reiterate that yes, I believe that Woodstock was the greatest peaceful event in history. It was basically the greatest crowd. Wherever else will there ever be, or has there ever been, over 500,000 people gathered together on 600 acres, which if you look is not that big, with music? Was it the music, or was music just I believe you could say it was the music, but it wasn't. Music was just a link. It will never again happen in history. And it's sad that peace would make history. But Woodstock did not make history because of the music or the drugs or whatever. It made history because it was peaceful. It was the biggest peaceful event in all time, as far as I'm concerned. So thank you very much.